Yo, I hiked the Washington section of the PCT and my bedrocks, and they're great. I love them. So I'm going to tell you why I love hiking in sandals. So I started off the PCT with wearing the Topo Pursuits, and they're great for like just wearing them like for shorter hikes. But when I actually started doing the longer hikes with them, like the 25-mile days, I just felt like there was too much cushion on those, even though it was a zero drop shoe. So I just felt real unstable while walking, and it became a problem because eventually my foot, it was rolling in, and I started wearing a hole through the inside of the shoe, which was not good because it was only after like 300-400 miles, like around Big Bear, it was real bad. And in Mission Creek, I was getting like dirt all in the shoe, so it was very bad. Then I switched to the Topo Mountain Racer, and that was even worse because of the drop. So I just felt very unstable, and it just felt like the shoe was forcing me to walk a certain way, and I didn't like that. So eventually I picked up a pair of Lone Peaks in a hiker box, and those were great because they're very minimal, zero drop, wide toe box, and they have a 25mm sack height. So I really enjoyed being a bit closer to the ground and like just walking a bit more naturally. And I wore Lone Peaks for most of the trail, like about 1,500 miles. I wore the hiker box Lone Peaks to Kennedy Meadows South, and then at KMS I bought my own Lone Peaks, and I wore them until Crater Lake, like over 1,100 miles, and they were still holding up. There was only 2 holes, but they weren't holes that went all the way through, so I wasn't getting any dirt in the shoe. The tread, it was still holding up pretty well, and it wasn't even the Vibram tread. So if you want to get the Lone Peak 9, the tread on those, it holds up pretty well compared to older Lone Peaks. So that was pretty cool, or maybe I just got lucky, who knows. And I got the Vibram Lone Peaks, Lone Peak 9 Plus. They weren't much different. I mean, like if you want to like have that Vibram name on your shoes, then like I guess spend the $15 extra, but the Lone Peak 9 is just fine. And I got to Cascade Locks, and I was like, first I stopped wearing socks. I stopped wearing socks in Mount Shasta because I just wanted to have more toe splay and less sweaty feet. And I stopped wearing socks, and like I never got any blisters. Maybe I'm just lucky. I don't really get blisters. And like there was a heat wave in Oregon, so my feet were just getting real sweaty. So I was like, there has to be something different, because I like not wearing socks. I don't want to go back to socks. So I started thinking about sandals. And then at PCT days, I just bought these bedrocks, and they're really nice. Like for the first week of wearing them, like your feet, they kind of have to adjust because it's a 14mm sack height instead of 25. So if you're going from like Hokas or Topos like straight to bedrocks, you're probably gonna mess yourself up because like you really have to adapt to having a shoe so minimal. Because if you're wearing cushioned shoes or shoes with drop, then like there's certain muscles and tendons and like joints and whatnot that have atrophied or just aren't fully developed because like you just haven't been using them. So I was feeling like a lot of pain because I was still doing like 30-40 mile days through southern Washington, and because I thought it was just gonna be normal, but my feet were like, no, like this isn't normal, this is different. So I was feeling lots of pain in my metatarsals because on the downhills I was using like the metatarsal, like I was using that as my first contact with the ground. But what I learned later is you should use your heel as a first contact. So like, because if you're using your heel, it just doesn't hurt that much. And I was also feeling lots of pain in my toes. Like my toes, like every morning I just wake up and they'd be so stiff. I was like, yo, this is crazy. But it's just like going to the gym. Like for the first week you're gonna be in pain, but as long as you're eating right and getting good sleep, which is eating right on trail, it's kind of difficult to do, but I can make a video on that. I feel like I'm pretty dialed with the trail nutrition, but it all works out. I think I made it through Washington in 18 days, 20 days. And by the end, like, I can't even imagine going back to wearing shoes, because I just love these sandals so much. And yeah, I'm not sponsored by Bedrocks, but they're great. You could also try out the Lunas. Some people do Chacos, some people do Teva. Like, just find what works for you. I did have a little bit of an issue with the strap, but it wasn't the sandals' fault, it was my fault for not adjusting. Let me show you. It's like, if you can see right there, I like wore away at my skin because I didn't adjust the straps to like the right setting for my foot. So the strap was just like rubbing on my foot, and it eventually just rubbed the skin raw. So if you do pick up sandals, then just keep that in mind. If you do pick up Bedrocks or any sandal that's adjustable, like if you feel any rubbing that's not normal, and like fix it right away so you can not destroy your feet and be in pain, because that kind of hurt. But after I figured it out, it's real nice. Like the tread on these, it's super good. This is after over 500 miles of walking, like 534 because of walking back to Hearts Pass, and they still look fresh. And if you know the Washington PCT, like, you know, it's like there is a lot of nice trail, like nice like pine needles and whatnot, but there's also a lot of rocks. But the tread on these, it looks fresh. And with the Bedrock Evo Karen, they have like this cushion, so it's just real nice. So they're a great sandal. I'd recommend them to anyone who is wearing a minimal shoe like the Lone Peaks or Ultra Superiors or Merrell Trail Glove, and you just want to go a little more minimal. Oh, and a main thing people ask me with sandals is like if I stub my toes, and I have stubbed my toe once, but that was because I was off trail, like looking for a spot to take a break, and I was just like milling around, and there was like this piece of like tree roots, like I can show you, like something like this guy, and like it was just sticking out of the ground, and I didn't really notice it because I was just milling around, like I didn't even know what I was doing, like looking for a spot for a break, and I just stubbed my toe on that thing, and it was like real sharp and just like unnoticeable, and that really hurt. I almost cried. But as long as you're paying attention to like what's on the ground, you'll never really stub the toe. That only happened once. And I sized my sandals like I would do with trail runners, so I have a thumb's width of space from the end of my toe to the end of the shoe. So if my foot gets like caught on any rocks or roots, then it's not my actual toe that's getting hit, it's just like the extra material. But yeah, sandals are great. Try them out. I'll see you all in the next one.